Welcome back to Crystal Clear. I'm Vox, and I have been thinking about the trajectory of Steven Universe a lot lately. I mean, yeah, we're in a hiatus probably until the movie. The only thing fans of the show can really do is, well, watch other shows and speculate what could happen next. That being said, I noticed in a lot of my ideas for the future of the series, I have been very adamant on one thing. Thus, I want to elaborate a bit more on why this change would be great for the show. That simple change is more space. I think it's time to put the universe in Steven Universe. Rebecca Sugar and Ian JQ have already said that what comes next for the show will be something completely new. That this version of Steven Universe is over, and what lies ahead is a new chapter. And while that does sound very exciting, you can't help but to think of so many times in the past where the show seemed as if it was going in a very exciting direction, only not to change all that much. Even with something as big as Season 5, yes, you can argue it is the most story-driven season yet out of the entire series, but that doesn't detract from the fact a lot of it is still centered in Beach City, that we're still anchored by townie episodes, and for Steven to just generally be oblivious until the plot calls for it. Even when we do venture out into space and go to new homeworld territories, we really don't learn all too much about their society. The closest we got was probably Familiar and Together Alone, seeing the living architecture, seeing a slew of brand new gems, learning that Pink Diamond used to throw parties on Homeworld. We learned a lot of politics and concepts revolving around this culture that we didn't know previously, but it only lasts for 2 episodes out of a 5-episode arc. Even Change Your Mind, despite taking 95% on Homeworld, didn't really provide any new information on the planet. Yeah, we're on Homeworld, but really, if you took that entire conflict with the Diamond Mech and going inside of White Diamond's head and put that on Earth, would the plot have really changed all that much? Like, the Diamond Days arc was a story on Homeworld, but I feel as if its grand finale didn't really take advantage of actually being on this planet. That being said, if we open up on Season 6 and a majority of it is still in Beach City, and we still get those goofing off townie episodes, then I'm sorry. This is just a previous version of Steven Universe we have. That being said, just send the boy to space. Now, the first thing I can think of for the frequency of townie episodes is that, despite having an overarching story, Cartoon Network still wants Steven Universe to, oddly enough, be quote-unquote episodic, where for the most part, you can tune in and find Steven hanging out with his friends, helping them solve a relatively small conflict, but then that creates friction because all the fans following the show are in it for the bigger picture. But honestly, I think that's where switching the setting to take place a lot more in space would benefit its episodic nature. It can just be under the pretense of Steven's trying to help the uncorrupted gems find a new life among the stars, or he helps the diamonds undo the damage they've done by colonizing all these planets, helping these planets be restored to what they used to be. Instead of having every single episode build off the last, thus telling a story arc, each episode could just begin on a new planet, on a new colony. We don't really need that much exposition beforehand. The core audience knows what's going on, and the viewers will just be like, oh neat, this is a cool planet. Another episode comes on, even potentially out of order. Oh sweet, another cool new planet. The consistency doesn't have to be with its setting, it just has to be with its cast of characters. Not to mention, this just makes the most sense with Steven's arc, and really who he is. His mother came from space. She saw all of these colonies as the diamonds frequently mentioned. His dad's dream was to go into space and see the cosmos. One of his caretakers, Pearl, tried taking him into space. Sure, it almost killed him, but he wasn't exactly discouraged when he went to Homeworld, when he went to the zoo, when he went to the moon base. So it's not like he really has immense trauma from that incident, and I just mentioned that because, with all those factors, on top of Steven being a very kind person, are you expecting me to believe he never thought, what other planets are out there? Are there aliens out there that I can help? I want to get to know them. Like, that's something Steven would say. And even if the show did start planet hopping every episode, that doesn't mean we would have to part ways from Beach City. Not only could some episodes take place there, but Steven can bring Greg on adventures. He definitely would bring Connie on adventures. I'm sure Lars and the Off-Colors could work their way there. They have a ship as well. And I know the audience generally hates them, but I think Ronaldo in space, or heck, even Onion in space, would be comedy gold. I just think for this show to continue and warrant a continuation that isn't just Cartoon Network squeezing money out of it, they need to make a big change to how the show is executed. And I don't think that big change has to be the Stephen Only perspective or even a time skip, even though I've been pushing for one. I think that big change just has to come to a point where we're watching the show and thinking, yeah, not only couldn't they have done this before, but it makes sense they would do this now. Switching the show up and frequently setting it into space, again, putting the universe in Steven Universe, would be that appropriate change, and it wouldn't have been something they were able to do prior, as they would have been worried about the diamonds and Homeworld as a whole finding them and being right on their tail. But what do you guys think? I know this is more of a shorter video, but I just had to put these thoughts out there before I made 100 more videos pretty much suggesting the same thing before I realized, wait a minute, I just want this show to go into space, and here's why. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts to me at OstricVox or at Roundtable Vids. We're also on Instagram. Consider helping the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please sort of like and subscribe to the Roundtable so you never miss any great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. OstricVox, out.